щоб читати чат.
Hello, my friends. It's Starsky report. Today I'm joined with my bro, Georgie. I hope you know Georgie. If you don't, buddy, can you please say a couple words about yourself? We cannot hear you, unfortunately.
Stop unhearing me and
Yeah,
start
yeah.
hearing me. Yes, hey everyone. I'm Georgie with Ukraine Matters, the YouTube channel. I'm a guy on YouTube and I talk. Mostly I talk about the situation in Ukraine, the war. I say things that I hear from the analysts and then I put my twist on it and then I'm being wrong and then the chat corrects me and we have a nice friendly conversations. But sometimes I get things right and then people like it and then they subscribe like you're gonna do right now to this channel. Oh my god, shameless plug so early. But yes, please subscribe to Starsky's channel. Now with the YouTube stuff gone, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, bro. Today's stream is, as always, not sponsored by Coca-Cola. And by the way, Georgie had Pepsi. That's why we have, like, you know, this mortal resistance today on the stream. Yeah, we have quite a few people here in the chat, by the way. Hello, everybody. Hello, Ali, our all-time moderator that slaughters Russian trolls like a real pro, and a lot of familiar names as usual, guys. It's very nice to see you. Mark Snyder says всім привіт. Привіт, друже. Джордже, може теж скажеш пару слів?
Привіт, Марк. Дуже вітаю всіх, хто бачить цей стрім. Ми трохи порозмовляли з Старським з початку цього стріму, і що домовились, що може, чи будемо розмовляти ем, е, разом, чи може зробимо якийсь стрім українською. Там подивимося.
But I think it's time to make streams for Ukrainian public as well, because
Yes.
like literally Georgie knows Ukrainian so well. So when he speaks, he sounds like like a Ukrainian man from say Mariupol. It's exactly like that. And
Yeah, I will rename my channel Europe Matters then. So
Europe matters.
if it's gonna be for the Ukrainian audience, because I need to focus on Europe, on the things that I know, because it would be weird streaming to Ukrainians with the channel Ukraine Matters, I think.
And Europe matters big time, bro. And it's one of the reasons why we created the Propaganda Study Institute that will launch possibly this Monday, guys. I'll keep you updated on that. But we'll talk about it a bit later. So tell me what's new on your channel, what happened lately, and what are the news in general? Because I haven't seen you for quite a while.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of individual stuff. I was on the brink last year when the channel was really growing really hard, and I was very happy. And I was on the brink of like, okay, I need to do more stuff. Like, so I was doing collaborations all the time. We were doing talks. I was considering a new channel where I would talk about side content, and then reality just kind of came in with like a big bludgeoning hammer and said like, no, man, like the times that there's still just 24 hours in a day, so you cannot really do that. You cannot, like, if you try to be at least follow the news, read the news, do some kind of analysis, especially listening to the actual analysts are extremely difficult. Like, people that watch my channel, I think, at least I'm hoping so, that they watch it because I try to explain in simple terms what it means, right? I try to explain what's the war is like for people that are not associated to war. That's why it's always funny to read to myself comments. It's like, man, you're explaining things like you don't know stuff. And someone's like, that's the whole point. It's like, I'm explaining things like to the regular people. Like, if you are a military expert, there's like tens of hundreds of different military experts with expertise so much better than some random guy on YouTube. But the problem with those experts is they talk in a really complex language. So sometimes I would listen as like, what does that mean even, like, and then I would just spend like half an hour reading about what are the components of missiles and so on. And the second thing is that they would participate in certain interviews like for hours, because if you want to go into details about something, you need to listen to the experts. It's like for hours. And I'm imagining this, okay, if I'm a guy working, like I have my wife, okay, I don't have kids, so I have some time. If I would have kids, if I would also have some kind of hobby, and like, because my social life is non-existent, I would not know what to do. And that was exactly what kind of happened with the channel and everything, that all of my good aspirations just came to the harsh reality check. And I was faced with like, okay, either I focus on the core thing that I still do videos, do the updates for Ukraine, and keep it to that, or I'm just going to be completely ruined and I will not going to be able to continue, because after about 2 months of doing it, I just felt that I was really burning out. I felt that I was like, work, work, work. Like, I wake up in the morning, I open my eyes, and I was like, oh, time to go to work. And it's like, when I'm going to be done? It's like, I don't know. It's like, today I'm going to do today, then I'm going to do record video, then I'm going to edit this, like, then I was going to read stuff. No. And I felt that I was already, kind of like stopping this. And I was like, no, no, no. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. So I need to take care of myself. I know there are people that can do it often. I know, but I'm not that kind of person, right? It's just difficult for me. So uh, that's why my community is a little bit despising that my videos come out only maybe 2-3 times a week. But I'm hoping that at least I'm delivering on the things that I deliver, though they become less relevant now, because it's like at the start of the war, there was a little bit of a kind of understanding because there was not a lot of good stream of translations from the Russian Telegram channels to English. Your channel and what you've been doing, like, was first and foremost in Russian and Ukrainian. Only later, as far as I remember, you switched to English, and that was the start of the war. There was a significant niche for that. Now there are Twitter threads. There are experts all over the place. Even the Western experts and Western media finally caught up. So right now, the ability for me to provide some kind of a fresh and new perspective, up to date information that is not appearing online is pretty negligible. So I'm actually sometimes asking questions why people still watch me, and I'm feeling very humbled about this. So thank you everyone that is watching me. But yeah, I do what I can, and we just keep going. It's just I cut down on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. Sometimes you have to sleep because uh, today I had live on the radio and I woke up at 6 because they were calling me. And when you wake up because hosts from the radio are calling you, usually it's very bad because you need like 15, 20 minutes, at least 20 minutes, to restart to basically start yourself and be like, more or less conscious and sober and answer the questions like, not like some drug addict or whatever, because sometimes it sounds kind of cringy. Because they go like, what do you think about the Russian troops showing more activity in the area of Bakhmut and Avdiivka in the past 24 hours? I'm like, but it's so bad, So, yeah, it happened twice actually in my life, because one time I had a stream last year and the editor from the Kyiv TV and radio channel called me. I felt like my IQ was at the level of like a seashell when I woke up. I was like, oh man. And yeah, it was really bad. The editor hates me now. But one thing that I really like about your channel that I appreciate is that you're trying to explain difficult things to your audience in a simple manner, which is very important, because it's true when military, especially when military talk to the audience, they do it not like communicators, they do it like military, basically, when they report to their command. So guys, if you haven't subscribed yet to Georgie's channel, you gotta do it. It's a must, as you understand. Also, Lisa is here as well, helping Ellie to crush Russian bots. Big thanks to you guys.
Hey, Lisa.
Yeah. And main news of today, I would say main news of like the past week, basically. So one topic we discussed with Roman, my bro sniper, Roman the Break, Trachimets, the Russian A-50 and IL-22 that were shot down over the Azov Sea. There was this funny joke when people said that the depth of Azov Sea is something like 14 meters. The size of the dimensions of the A-50 is something like 19. So it will, it will be seen from sticking from the water. How do you think it was even possible?
I mean, that was an extremely good operation, right? It required a lot of input. I for 1 second I don't buy that it was Russians themselves. For 1 second I will not buy it. It's just such a ridiculous lie. I mean, like, when you really are pushed to the situation where you are forced to lie, okay, it was actually us, it was us. It's like, okay, so who is getting like fired? Is there any? It's like, no, but it was us. Like, I trust us, please. It's such a hilariously bad lie. So I've checked. Well, Ukraine has the opportunity. Like, we know that either it was the Patriot system that was operating in the area, I've heard certain journalists making potential claims that it was anti-air missile, but then they started trying to kind of explain that it potentially was a Ukrainian plane that kind of flew into the territory of the Russian occupied territory while the A-50 was in the air, and then it launched the anti-air missile. It was a little bit silly. So I think, like, if you're making that kind of explanation, you might as well just say, well, Ukraine just kind of attached the Patriot launcher to the I don't know, Su, what is it, 27, or which one is used by the Ukrainians, and then it just kind of
Su-25.
yeah, Su-25, and then it dragged it on the Russian occupied territory, and then it just launched the missile. It's a little bit silly. No, I think it was definitely a complex operation. I think that these planes were tracked. I think this is kind of the same type of operation as was done around the area of where was it, the south of Kherson, where they shut down 3 planes right away. So the situation was there that we know that there are certain corridors that Russian planes are using, and I'm pretty sure that it doesn't just apply to these planes. What I think happened is that the Ukrainian command, they studied the plans, they studied their capabilities, they consider, like, okay, we maybe can we risk certain assets to maybe like launch missiles, can we get like some of the things, and then let's see if we can get a shot at it, like, maybe stay in a low frame and so on. And I think that they knew approximately when these planes might come up again in these patterns, because not the patterns, but like around this time, because both of the planes got shut down around Berdyansk.
Yeah.
That is specifically the area which is like kind of closest to the front line. When you like look at the maps, that people posted the maps how these planes were flying, it was specifically when they were closer to Berdyansk that got shot. So I think that it is because of that. It's because Russians have predefined flight plans, they have predefined protocols, and it was kind of like, well, they've been flying like this for a month now. Can we just make a trap? And that's I feel that's the most credible scenario. I don't believe that there was a Russian drunk guy that just decided, oh wow, these planes that are flying, I'm pretty sure they're flying like on thousands of kilometers up in the air, right? So these huge pieces of metal that I see on my radar, those are Ukrainian drones flying. I mean, if they're flying around Berdyansk, where are they flying from? So I'm not an expert in radars, but I'm pretty sure you can distinguish between drone, a missile, and a motherfucking big spy plane. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my perspective on it.
Rick the Ukrainian is here in the chat, bro.
Ooh.
Yeah, hugs.
Привіт, Рік.
Привіт, бро. Джорджа розмовляє українською, якщо що. And I agree on that, but I can see connections between this operation and other operation that happened approximately 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, when several Russian, I believe Su-35 were shut down, Su-34.
34, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one in the Kherson region. Yeah, well, in Kherson region, and one over the Black Sea, I believe it was.
Yeah, there were like 5 planes in like 2 days.
That was crazy.
I see that there is a possibility, probably some kind of, like, let's not talk about super weapons and shit because only Russians do that. But one way or another, it's really good to realize that Ukraine acquired some method of shooting down Russian airplanes, especially at such range, especially such important targets, flying at the altitude of 30,000 feet, like 10,000 meters, 11,000 meters, which is a lot. You cannot do that with a man-pad, of course, but you can do that with something more serious than that.
No, and the pictures that were posted by this Russian blogger, the aviation blogger, it showed very clearly that this was no SAM. This was very clearly some kind of massive missile system, and the fact that he just showed the tail end of it, for me, it kind of is like, okay, that means that the main damage is somewhere else. This reminds me when ATACMS hit the Russian planes, or that were or no, sorry, helicopters that were stationary
Yeah.
on that airfield, and then they posted the picture. Haha, what do you say? What do you think? Like, look, your attackers did nothing. Like, this helicopter is completely in working order. And then people started zooming in and seeing that helicopter actually is just considered like basically like a complete sieve. Like, you can basically use it for spaghetti draining. It was that bad. So it was kind of about the same. So like, it's nothing else. It's just the tail part. And yes, like, yes, but where's the rest of the plane? It's like, was there
Yeah.
like no damage and so on? It's like, I'm pretty sure there's a big mass missile. So I think that that plane obviously made it. So the damage maybe was not critical, but I think that with Russian problems with aviation, like people misunderstand. I'm gonna very quickly, like, and I'm gonna wrap it up and give you the ability to speak. People really undervalue what is the implications from this, because the implications are enormous. This was the same kind of implications when the Moscow went down, right? It didn't came from that moment Moscow went down. It was kind of like that was the definitive moment that the Russian Navy is going to be really screwed. This is about the same moment, but for the Russian aviation, because Ukraine has shown the capabilities to track and destroy strategic targets, not just the operational or tactical level aviation, but actual like major strategic targets. Beyond that, Russia doesn't really have the capabilities to produce these planes. From what I've heard, again, I might be wrong because there is some deviation on data. Russia from the Soviet Union has received about 11 of these planes, like A-50 with the dish, of which only about 8 were in general okay condition. Russians were able to make 5 of them fly, and they were used in active operations. And then one of them got destroyed last year, not destroyed, but critically damaged last year in the airfield of in
Mitsubishi.
Belarus. Yeah, Maturishi. And the problem with that is that in the recent times, Russia had mostly 2 of them in the air. It's not completely clear whether it was the same ones or they exchanged and so on. But the point is, the number of these planes you can count on your fingers, and now they will be forced to, like I always say, it's a step-by-step process, right? You are eroding the enemy's capabilities, and this is what Ukraine is doing. Moscow was relevant because it provided the anti-air shield for the whole Black Sea region. Once Moscow is out, Russia tried to supplement additional anti-air system into Crimea to put some smaller ships in there, to which Ukraine responded strategically, like in a long sense, now that we look at this, by destroying and actively targeting the anti-air systems in Crimea, by sending out air targets into the Russian towards their production facilities, towards Moscow, everywhere. So they are forced to then kind of spread their anti-air systems that they have even thinner. And this started creating windows of opportunity for certain drones, for certain aviation targets to kind of get through. Then the question was, how do you proceed there? Like, now that you have this area where they have certain holes in air anti-air defense, well, what can you improve? Well, it would be nice if you can take out the radar installations, if you can take out the eyes of Russians. So taking out one of these planes is so massive that the Russians spread out anti-air systems right now. They cannot really respond. You cannot just say, okay, we have a couple of new air targets, let's just move out. If you don't see the air targets approaching, when the on-ground radars are finally picking up the targets, it's very often already too late. And that means that the whole situation, like the whole kind of the general level of ability of Russia to counter aerial targets just dropped a level. Just was like boom. It's like imagine walking down the stairs. So we just basically just passed the whole floor. So now we're walking down the level stairs again, but at some point there's going to be next floor. And the best part is that at some point it's going to hit the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Also, it means that Ukrainian strikes involving things like long-range drones and missiles will be much more effective on the Russian targets, because those airplanes, they were used specifically to track such targets. They were also used for target, my God, target recognition and designating targets in the real time to their fighter jets and things like that. Fighter jets are, of course, used to intercept missiles and drones as well. So it will decrease Russian both offensive and defensive capabilities big time. So the comparison to losing the Moskva ship is absolutely correct, I believe.
Yeah. Russians have really poor. Just quickly, kind of finish it off, like to like agree with you. The main part is that we know that Russian ability to identify friend and foe is really bad. It has been bad from the start of the war. They have really bad ability to identify friend and foe. If they have no early warning systems, so they can double check, like we know how Russian army operates, like try to call someone else or write in Telegram chat asking like, is this one of ours or not? That's going to be the situation. And if you're getting notified that there's a target, well, then you might not have enough time to write a mail to Ivan to ask him if this is one of ours.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a question from Jamie. As a press officer of the National Guard, can you confirm if AIM-9 sidewinders are being utilized on Strela 10 and OSA air defense systems as a result of implementing Frank and Sam? I cannot confirm the using of AIM-9 sidewinders, but I know that AIM-120 IM-RAMs were used together with Buk systems. The Buks that we have, we ran out of missiles made in the Soviet times for those systems, but we use them with American missiles now. And yesterday, I believe one of the Shaheds was shot down at the range of like 9 kilometers, something like that. I think Frank and Sam is it rocks. It's something so cool. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not an anti-air dude, but I love this thing. Yeah, there's a question from Sarah. Been wondering about Gerasimov also. No news about him at all. Bro, what do you think?
I already debunked this on my channel a lot. It's a nice joke. It's a very nice meme. I very much enjoy that people like it. But I explain a lot that it's not the Gerasimov that you think it is. First and foremost, like people like in my stream, I explained that Gerasimov was not killed, and then people's like, well, it was not actually the right Gerasimov. I was like, I know it's not the right Gerasimov. I know, but the people thought it was that Gerasimov. That's the whole point. So it was not the same Gerasimov that you think it was. First one. Secondly, it was such a complete hoax. It was just like a channel was quoting non-existing Telegram channel. No, sorry. It was quoting and translating post from a channel supposedly, but when that channel and the channel logs were checked, that message was never there. So it was a made-up message, supposedly quoting some small Russian Telegram channel, which has like 30,000 subscribers. So it's like not super big. And after that, it just kind of went over wild over the internet. So it's just it's when the people have too much time on their hands and are trying to squeeze every bit of clicks that they can.
Yeah, absolutely. And so how can I answer this question? Only one way. If you want to find where where Gerasimov is, you probably gotta call him Gerasimov, and maybe he will reply. And we have a message from another viewer who asks, please share other channels with me so I can spread the word the word so others can show support for Ukraine. What channels about Ukraine are you like? Do you like to monitor?
Yes. Well, I don't almost never watch channels about Ukraine. That's the unfortunate part. That's why we started today. Like you said, like, oh, I'm doing streams, and I ask you like, what's the format? Because I don't really have a lot of times to watch other YouTube content creators. It's only when people start writing me in my email or somewhere saying, it's like, Georgie, have you seen like this video? It was there's something important. It's like, okay, yeah. Because otherwise I'm just focusing on like an expert talks and so on. So that's the unfortunate. But with regards to channels that I would follow, so on my channel, I have a tab that is called, wait, is there no more channels tab? What? Since when did it disappear? Am I stupid? Okay, so there used to be a tab on YouTube on the channel that was called channels, and you could put in that channel tab the channels that you would recommend. But now I opened my channel and I don't see the channels tab anymore. So I guess YouTube took it down. There we go. Yeah, there's home, videos, shorts, lives, podcasts, playlists, community memberships. Okay, well that's a little bit underwhelming. Let me see if I have them maybe in my admin tab.
Okay. Meanwhile, I will answer the question from Carl. What's the brand of the headphones you're sporting? It's a Super Lux, whatever. Super Lux. This is how it's called. So I bought them when I was writing music in those days, back in those days, and literally I decided to wear headphones because I finally fixed my setup here, so now I can talk and hear Georgie at the same time. But also, I think that wearing those headphones make me look a bit like Joe Rogan of the healthy person. You know, he likes to sit like this.
You need a proper background for it. Like
Yeah,
there was this there is like a fitness YouTuber that is like a big scammer. His name is Vishred. So
yeah,
what he did, what you know him, okay? So
yeah.
you know what he did? So he got the background like the same as Joe Rogan, and then he started recording the short videos like TikToks with like the shorts for YouTube, like he was on the Joe Rogan show where he is speaking, and that was incredible scam,
Oh
absolutely
shit! Oh
incredible.
shit! This is genius.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. So. Uh, Because we started speaking about the channels, I would of
Yeah.
course recommend Dennis Davidov, my good buddy, Andrew Mercado, Johnny FD. He lives in Ukraine, in Kiev, and uh, he's basically Ukrainian now, by the way. And what else? KLW World News, we have them right here in the chat with us tonight.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I would recommend Rick the Ukrainian. Rick is doing a great job. He's an amazing guy. I did a stream with him a couple of times. Would definitely also recommend if you're really into like deep, lengthy, boring analytics of the battlefield. There's a guy called Andrew Perpetua. He goes like he has his own like battle map, and he goes like well into like every single incident on the battlefield, every single video, and like his streams are incredibly long. But like if you're like really want to go into details about what's happening, about every single accident, like trying to look about at every single FPV drone video, trying to make sure, is this a T-72 or a T-72B model of a tank that this FPV is hitting? Like that is the channel that I would definitely recommend. um, yeah, for sure. Dylan Burns, for sure.
Yeah.
He's an American journalist. Yep, I think he's journalist. I'm not sure if he has or a YouTuber or Twitch streamer or something. And he has at some point decided that he's gonna go balls deeps. I've seen him at the start of it. Like someone just linked this to me when he said like, okay, I'm gonna try to do so. He crowdfunded his trip to Ukraine So he came on a crowd-funded trip to Ukraine, and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna stay in Lviv, and I'm not even gonna come close to the battle line." And then as he got into Ukraine, he came to like front lines. He was literally going in cities when they were shelled. So he was like doing all the frontline reporter stuff. Absolutely crazy bowlers guy. I really enjoy his content.
Yeah, also Andrew Park Nielsen, also Jake Bro, of course, also Silicon Curtain, Perun, Professor Gerdes, Anna from Ukraine, Eugenia from Ukraine. Yeah, Zhenya from, I believe her name is Zhenya. I'm so.
There is one channel that you should never watch. You should never watch Ukraine TBIC. Don't watch Brendan. Don't give him likes.
Yeah, he likes surströmming. We don't trust people who like surströmming.
No, it's a joke. Brendan is a big friend of a channel, both me and Starsky. That's why we're kind of joking around.
Course. Yeah. And by the way, there was a question from Custom Suing. Didn't operator Starsky take that fermented fish in the can challenge with Johnny FD? Absolutely. I absolutely did. I made a video. Unfortunately, it's in really bad quality, so I decided that other guys can do it better. But did you ever try surströmming?
No, Brendan was really proud about it because before it even made to Ukraine, before he even had the challenge, I knew that this is happening because he's like, I'm taking this to them. And I was like, okay. So I actually knew in advance and I never told you. So there we go. I actually set you up.
It's okay, bro, because unlike other guys, I gotta tell you this. I have a secret weapon. So in 2020, I believe, after acquiring COVID, my sense of smell got completely effed up. That's why whatever smells really bad, I don't feel it. On the other hand, whatever smells really good sometimes smells bad to me. But I took the challenge easily. I didn't even puke. But you know what? I think it's a good opportunity to switch to the main topic of today, which is the uprising in beautiful Bashkiria. For those who don't know how it looked like approximately like this. Tremendous aggression, tremendous graphical content. You can see those deathly snowballs flying into those policemen, just destroying their helmets and heads, and the crowd is absolutely furious because this is a proper Russian protest. What do you think about it, bro?
I mean, that's exactly what I would expect. The snowballing with the police, that's the level of resistance, the absolute fight that Russians have in them. I think that's the about the level that I was expecting. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see videos with them saying sorry quite soon. Kadyrov will soon probably gonna start showing his standing army and says we're gonna go and we're gonna fix it. Just give us the order, and then never appear there. It's kind of joke because like when Prigozhin was going after Putin and his coup, Kadyrov was like non-stop posting videos how they were already like packing all of the gear, getting into their trucks and like already let's go, and they like never arrived. They just never left. So it was
they stuck in the traffic jam actually.
yes. So it's kind of the same thing. So I think it's kind of like a big representation of lack of balls in Russians, basically, if I can say so. Only having snowballs, basically.
Caitlin T says there were those were not snowballs. There were. My God, I lost the. Oh my God, Caitlin, those were chi balls from Dragon Balls.
Yes.
Yeah. So, oh my God, I forgot to mark the comment. Yeah, I was asked at the interview today about the protests in Bashkiria, And basically, what I was told was that, which is obvious, that Russians have absolutely no idea how to protest. That's why I said, guys, if there are conscious Russians in Russia who want to change something, there's huge archive about the Ukrainian Revolution of Dignity in 2013, 2014. Just use it, and you can make it. Just learn, just download anything you can. Just learn how to protect yourself from the batons, from the gas grenades, from flashbang grenades, rubber bullets, and everything. How to cook Molotov cocktails and things like that. And there's a good question from Kaimo. Why they don't throw eggs instead of snowballs? Bro, how do you think? Why
I
they
mean,
don't throw eggs?
It's an expensive, it's a luxury process you're already describing. This is not Moscow.
Yeah, it's like
if it would be Moscow, then yes.
yeah, Moscow, St. Petersburg. It's like when you throw an egg, it's like you throw a one-room apartment in like Podmoskovia, you know? It just goes that way.
Well, it's fine because it's flooded anyway. So,
Yeah. Anyway.
but yeah, like Russia right now is breaking apart. Many layers. Why? I'm going to come back to the protests right now. Now, but let's finish the protest and then we go to the Russia being flooded. So with the protests, in all seriousness, I know why this is a hot topic, right? Because we all really want to believe, like we really want to have this inside feeling. Yes, like yes, finally something's gonna happen, and Russians, you know, they're gonna open their eyes to the errors of their ways, rise up in a joyous, and it's not gonna happen, guys. It's you are putting too much faith into Russians. Like the only force that is able to democratically, correctly, legally, and very pedantically deal with Russians is the armed forces of Ukraine. They are the best negotiating force right now that is out there. So you should move your support for the Ukrainian armed forces. But as for Russians, this is a nowhere region of Russia, right? This is like there is nothing there. No one cares what's happening there. Like it's like it can, like these policemen can brutally kill like all of these thousands of people. Literally zero influence on the rest of Russia because no one cares. Russians are the most apathetic people there is. Like the fact that they have some local like protests, we have seen this before. There was like in Dagestan something, there was in other places something. Yes, in the smaller provinces, in the smaller republics, something is going to happen. But this is still just thousands of people. So I think there was the report, there was like maybe 10,000 people something. Bitch, Russia has police force that is counted in like hundreds of thousands. Like there's more police than the whole population of this area. So it's a little bit silly, and just I know that we really want to believe, I really do, but until this is really supported by some kind of actual force, until these policemen, for example, says like, yes, we are the citizen of Bashkirtostan, let's take over the local army base or something, it's not going anywhere. And even if they do take that, it's not a fact that they will get anywhere, because this is in Russian standards, like if it's not in St. Petersburg or Moscow, it didn't happen.
Yeah, I absolutely agree on that, and people must understand that vast majority of Russians, they dream to be like among those policemen than among those protesters. Because when you join the police in the terrorist federation, you receive a lot of power actually, and access to other, you know, like dirty things. But the thing is, it's hopeless. The very reason why we're talking about the protest in Bashkiristan is because such things don't happen often in Russia. Simply because of that, because there's so much police, there's so much of those repressive organizations and secret services and everything else that such things don't happen often. Like last year, there were like several uprisings. One in the downtown, in the Moscow downtown, it lasted 2 minutes. It's when widows and wives of Russian soldiers went there with their banners. It lasted like 2 minutes, like literally, and there was uprising in Dagestan, but it wasn't uprising against the government. It was uprising against Jewish people, basically, and something else. I don't remember exactly, but
Yeah, there
not.
was some time ago. There was not Novosibirsk, but like in that area where the governor of that area
Yeah,
that they elected was arrested. So they were like protesting for like a month or so. So it's been happening before. It's seen, but it's always the same. If it's not in a center, if it's not anywhere where Putin might notice it essentially from his window, and then they can overpower or take place, then didn't really happen. So far, there has been not a single incident in Russia where the police could not handle it.
yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, this is true. Today, I was recalling, those events at Bolotnaya, when Navalny was making selfies in the police car, etc. At the same time, Maidan in Ukraine was burning because people were throwing Molotov cocktails and stones at corrupted policemen. So you probably realize why protests in Russia will, like, they can be successful, but in order to do that, first they have to have like empty fridges completely. Because if they don't have eggs, they will eat fish. If they don't have fish, they will eat brukva. If they don't have brukva, they will eat some other shit. But generally, they have to have completely empty fridges, so they cannot feed their families. They don't have collation for their vodka or whatever, and that's when it starts. Голодный бунт. The hungry uprisings, that's the only thing that works in Russia, unfortunately. They were raised as zombies for more than a century. And it doesn't matter if they were shouting freedom or whatever, throwing those massive snowballs at policemen. Won't work, unfortunately. We all hope, but no.
Yeah. And talking about Bolotna, like this just made me cry. So there are I follow a lot of Russian opposition because it's my kind of go-to place to kind of keep track of how deluded the Russians are, right? Because what's the better indicator if I supposedly watch and read like people that are against Putin's regime, that then like what's the indicator about what the Russian society and what are they doing in there? And they are like beyond helpless. It's so funny. So right now, what they did? So there's like a group like of volunteer psychologists that talked with Russians that either fled Putin's regime or want to escape Putin's regime or don't like Putin. Right. So it's like a semi underground psychological network. And these psychologists, they started kind of keeping statistics and talking about this. And what they discovered is that Russians, when they look at the opposition, and they want to have someone strong, they want to have a strong leader in the opposition. So when this woman appeared with a proposal like, I'm going to run against Putin, apparently majority within the Russian opposition or like people that are against Putin didn't like her because she appeared weak, and they wanted like a more of a strong, firm hand that will guide them. And I was laughing my ass off because it doesn't matter what kind of Russian you are, what kind of way you're thinking. Like you just want someone else's dick in your butt. I'm sorry for my expression. Like it's just absolutely incredible that they just completely disregard the concept of reality. I mean, not everyone. Not I need to be fair. Not everyone, but the absolute majority is just like, yep, it's just I want to be puppeted by someone else. That's what I want. I just don't like that it's Putin.
Yeah, I agree on that. There's this so-called Russian liberal opposition, which makes me cry all the time because what they do is that Max Katz, remember that dude? He's so popular in the internet, but at
It's
the
incredible. Oh my god.
when like okay he's a smart guy, but when he talks about like uprisings in Russia and he goes we should not consider the Ukrainian experience because this is not our way. Ukrainian experience is the only experience that fucking worked, because protests in Belarus didn't work, protests in Russia didn't work. The only protest that worked was the protest in Ukraine during the Revolution of Dignity, and it resulted into a new government that was democratically elected, not installed, not like, you know, the guys that captured the power. No, it was due to the democratic elections. That's the only thing that worked because we did it. And that's why it's so, you know, it's so cringy to hear from Max Katz when he says Ukrainian experience doesn't fit us. We have different mentality. That's why we have to protest in a different way. I remember I watched this. Guys, it's just my personal pain, okay? Every single time I watch the so-called Russian oppositionists, they go, Putin is a very tactical man, and if we keep saying free Navalny, free Navalny, free Navalny, eventually he will release Navalny. I'm like, it's painful to hear. It's literally painful to hear because they are so. I cannot call them stupid, but I think they work for FSB. Because you cannot protest, Mark Schengeman, Max Katz, his name is, you cannot protest against anti-democratic government with democratic measures. No, doesn't work like that. We tried that in Ukraine, didn't work. So, of course, I'm not calling, you know, like you don't receive the bonus for your salary, you just throw like stones in the window of your employer. No, it doesn't work. But in the environment where regime hates democracy, when all kinds of protests will be suppressed, democratic protests don't work. You have to do something else. And basically, Russians already do something else. Not all of them, of course, just a small minority. But I'm talking about the Russian Liberation Corps. I'm talking about the Russian freedom fighters that are currently fighting in Ukraine, helping to defend Ukraine against the Russian invaders. Those guys basically know how to do it properly. Remember the invasion of Belgorod?
Yeah, it was a fun time.
Yeah, it was so amazing. And my good friend that I know personally, he was there. The guy who made selfies at the border guard checkpoint, the bearded one, Ilya.
Nice.
Yeah, those guys are cool, and basically they fight. They know how to fight because they fight on their own territory.
Yeah, but Max Kass is like, it's one of the most annoying one for me because there's so many people both in my community and generally in the West that are simping for him. It's incredible, and it's the people that are just trying to kind of look at his current work, like, and trying to like, oh my god, what is he actually saying? And they mostly look at what he's saying, like his messages. However, when you start kind of looking into his history, because I followed Max Katz for a while now, I know what he has been doing for a while now. Like when these people like start interviewing or taking Max Katz seriously, I'm pretty sure that these people don't know that during the Bolotna protest and like when the Russian government actually beat up and incarcerated opposition leaders, it was specifically Max Katz that sabotaged any kind of decision by the Russian opposition to actually actively resist Putin's regime. The fact that the Russian opposition that had some kind of a core and a semi-decision and at least negotiating body altogether in 2010s, it was specifically Max Katz that was organizing the anti-movement, saying that like we should not resist Putin. And people that are now calling him and like taking his words seriously, saying is like, oh yeah, Max Katz, like you should listen his YouTube channel, like he's saying such a good things. No, he's not. Like he's still saying that your way to fight Putin's regime is to go on elections, to vote in it. Like, how dumb are you? He is like one of the worst of them all. Like he's not even trying to pretend that he's trying to kind of break out of the system at all. He is just like there to absolutely protect, defend, and in other ways to like basically whitewash the system. He is one of the worst guys one can follow, but because he has a large following, he has a large writing crew, he has a nice production budget, he's releasing video every day for years now, people like him. It's like, oh, he's popular, therefore he's right.
Yeah, there was a question from Mark. Why has Navalny been allowed to live? The answer is simple, because he's like, you cannot call life what he's experiencing right now, because he's in the Russian prison and basically it's a torture every single day. Bro, what do you think about it?
I mean, he's like Putin's, how do you say? Putin is having his day with him, right? He is doing everything like, because it's hard to describe what the Russian prisons are, right? I know this because I watched all of these documentaries, like, post-Soviet documentaries about the life in the 90s, Russian prison culture, and so on. And I approximately can imagine what is the everyday life of the prison in a maximum security prison. Especially now, he's been moved to like the worst place. I think it's like near or even beyond the polar circle, right? So he's like in permafrost area, basically prison. Like the guy, like imagine you being tortured every day, nonstop. Like you're not allowed to sleep. You're being waken up every night, multiple times. When you're being waken up, you are forced essentially by the rules of the prison to kind of stand with the top of your head, like so about to your waist level, and kind of force yourself against the wall with the top of your head. And then you're supposed to kind of keep your hands, and you're supposed to kind of pick them up as much as you can. So, and that's kind of the procedure. So they would come up like at the middle of the night, ring the alarm in his room, ring the bars, push him against the wall, and then like kind of come in, take his bed out, like maybe I can move him around roughly, then close the door, and then in a couple hours come back again. And that's every day, every single day. How long this war has been going on? Like he has been arrested like more than like was 3 years now, 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. To be honest, don't really care. Every single day is like that. Every single day, and this is only the night. This is we're not even getting like it's not really like a fun living. So for Putin, this is a fun time. I'm pretty sure sometimes he's really liking himself for that, and he's actually having those sometimes wet dreams, maybe internally. I'm not sure if his PP is even functional anymore, but I'm pretty sure that would get him hard.
Yeah, yeah. And also, Navalny is not dangerous enough, guys. Nemtsov was dangerous enough. That's why he was shot. Litvinenko was dangerous enough. That's why he was poisoned. Skripals were dangerous enough. That's why they were also almost killed. The lady who investigated the exploded buildings, my God. You know who I'm talking about. KGB blows up.
Was it Politkovskaya?
Politkovskaya, yeah. She was dangerous enough, that's why she was also shot. But Navalny, no. If he dies from whatever, pneumonia,
oh no,
that will be.
Oh well, whatever we're gonna do. Oh, I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna be so sad.
Not. Yeah, big time. Okay. Did you really shoot down one of your own drones? The problem was that this drone was not waving the Ukrainian flag. It was not screaming Slava Ukraini. That's why it got shot down, of course. It was my best shot. Don't forget Greg Terry. I'm not just not forgetting Greg Terry, guys. You gotta absolutely subscribe to Greg,
There's plenty of good channels. Like if we just like, I cannot remember. I had on my channel, like on the channel tab on YouTube, where I had like a list of every single like good pro-Ukraine channel, and I was about to read it, but YouTube apparently deleted this whole list. So I'll have to make some kind of a, maybe in Discord, some kind of list, because this is not bueno.
Yeah, absolutely. Ukraine is fighting for the freedom of Western Europe. Putin won't stop at Ukraine. Why is it so hard for American leaders to understand this? In order to answer this question, we have to look back at the US early 40s. People like, guys, there were always people who called to negotiate. There were always people who supported Nazi. For example, Mr. Henry Ford was known for that, as far as I remember. And history repeats itself. There are always people like that. Also, there's individuals like Jackson Hinkle who go like, don't fuck with Iran, don't fuck with North Korea. Like, the dude is clearly supporting the terrorists and gives no shit about it because money don't smell. Everybody has his or her price. Some people, like those that have like those huge audiences of people, they have bigger price, but Russia can buy pretty much anybody. They have unlimited resources for that. Dave Dawson says, I'm in Wales. Squirrels are all gone now. Hamsters next. Then poles and woozles. Yeah, and also if you want to show support to Cardiff, you gotta go there. Because, bro, I still cannot understand why Russians hate Cardiff so much.
The what?
Cardiff. The Margarita Simonian was saying that, wait, Skabieva, was it Skabieva? She was saying, so like when they started bombing Ukraine last year, 2022, they were saying that Europe is suffering without gas and yada yada. And women in Cardiff started doing prostitution because they could not upkeep their families and stuff like that. I just don't, and they mentioned Cardiff in several propagandist videos. I just, maybe it's because, like, you know, the Cardiff football hooligans. That's the only thing I know about Cardiff right now.
Is it close to the Are there any towers in the area, like some world famous towers in Cardiff? Because I know like it's very popular in Russia to take like tourist trips to see different towers and especially like the tallest ones in Europe. So maybe that's the reason. I don't know.
I think it's because the football hooligans. We all know that those guys in Cardiff are crazy, and probably they just kicked some butts in Russia.
Yes. I mean, the eating hamster. I mean, we're slowly, we're kind of like already on the top of the topic, right? The hamster eating. So all of you have remembered the video of the Russian propaganda. I don't have it nearby, but maybe once
I have it right here. Just a second, because
there we go.
Just a second.
So can I remember the best moments of 2022 of Europe freezing altogether?
Yeah, I couldn't delete it. Oh my God, could I?
Please
I was showing it to Roman the other day, and yeah, here it is. Here it is, guys. Unfortunately, I have
Here it comes.
Unfortunately, I have to remove the sound because we will get,
Oh yeah, they have this annoying music in there. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But you'll understand. I think it's pretty clear.
yeah,
I mean, you can narrate. Like, can you do humming? Like,
Pa, pa, pam, pa, pa, pam, pa, pa, pam, pa, pa, pam.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it was 2021. Oh,
Yeah,
right, right.
Christmas 2021. I cannot say that Christmas 2023 is much different than Christmas 2021, but judging from what the dude does, he probably received some nice skills in like military intelligence of Ukraine
Yeah.
or whatever, and the hamster is able to provide their whole apartment with the electricity because it's a Ukrainian hamster. We are tough. Yeah, and then there goes
yeah.
this Christmas 2023. They eat soup. Everybody seems like really depressed because this is Russian fantasy. And the dude almost chokes on that little red bow because the courageous Ukrainian hamster decided to sacrifice its life to feed the Ukrainian defenders or
Yes,
something
very
like that.
answers.
Yeah. Oh my
Oh,
God.
it was so good.
Last time I showed this video, it was like I showed it to our viewers, and then Roman joined our stream, and I was like messing around with this video. Unfortunately, I accidentally shut down the stream. I restarted it, but my frontal camera was showing like the drying rack with my underwear for like 15 seconds.
But I love this video is completely how do you say it is completely targeted to the Russian audience, right? Because if we kind of start taking the facts of the video, we see that it's been like the laziest hack job one can ever imagine. And if we just take like one by one, right? First and foremost, like European that tries to do a handy more work when there's lights broken is like, no, he's gonna go to the shop, or like as a good Europeans, he already has like stashes, because when Christmas comes, Europeans have about 700,000 different Christmas lights, and whenever they're not working, they're not going to be bothering. They're going to just put some candles on, like, because candles rule, Christmas light don't. That's that everyone knows that. Secondly, the idea of eating soup is a completely Russian idea, right? It's because Russians have this warm feeling. For them, soup is like it's like that's the definition of home. Like when you eat soup, you're basically at home. Like you don't, like, even if you eat soup outside, it's supposed to mimic that feeling. It's always about the family and so on and so on and so on. It's about laying down, being with your family. There are no soups in Europe. Like the soups that are like in pretty much majority of Europe is just purees. It's a puree of some other vegetable, like maybe like a parsnip or carrots or tomatoes, something like this. There are like some exemptions, maybe like an onion soup and so on. Even goulash that is served in Hungary, maybe the closest thing to the actual soup that the Russians understand. Maybe that, but again, Hungary is pretty far away from the rest of Europe. So the association with soup mostly left all of Europeans like puzzling, like, why? Like, what's the point of soup? It's like, especially because a lot of times soups are cold. Like, why would you eat a cold soup? Because like it wasn't obvious that it was hot soup. And that's a little bit baffling. And then obviously the third one is the fact that it was so cold that people just, like, needed to be warmed up and everything. These people have never been to Europe during winter. Like, Europe is cold. Okay, we can get maybe like a -3, -4 degrees, maybe a week of -10, and I'm supposedly living in the northern part of Europe. But when you get like more south from myself, then the winters get very difficult, because at that moment the problem is that people usually don't have winter clothes, period, because they don't need them. It's wet usually, yes, but it's not cold. So it's only for Russians that really don't have this experience of not having heating during the cold, of being really cold. So the only message that this video was, I'm sorry for my over too serious analysis of this, because obviously seriously analyzing propaganda piece, but it's all for lols. But it's because Russians are having this all the time. And this winter, it just kind of hits harder because a lot of these people that were maintaining old Soviet system are now on the front lines. Soviet Union was one of the most inefficient economical constructs in the world. And this was prevalent in all areas, heating including, heating, water pipes, and so on. Because for them, building like localized heating plants is kind of expensive. So what instead they did is they built like mega heating plants, like mega like not factories, but you get my point. Like, and then they put like hundreds of thousands of kilometers of pipes all over Russia, from centralized. And the problem is that if that plant goes out, somewhere is a break in the system, it influences everyone. So the chain reaction is absolutely incredible. And for the long time, it was kind of maintained. There was obviously the element of corruption and it was like kind of given. So the only thing that they did when they were kind of fixing the pipes, so at some point, for example, it was said that the pipes in this section of the heating, like heating highway, are already depreciated, so they need to be taken out. So they would take them out, and instead of just destroying them, they would then kind of reuse them on the other part where it was depreciated. So they would like say that they bought new ones, write it in, said we got new ones, and then just take the old ones that they took out from one place and put it into the other place. Essentially, kind of just continuously reusing the same system again and again and again. And it was one of the most efficient corruption schemes in Russia. And the problem is, mostly it was maintained by a lot of these guys, the local kind of plumbers, heaters, and so on, that were just able to fix it on relatively local level. But having cold winters, having heating outages, and so on is kind of not uncommon in Russia. The problem right now is that it's not being maintained, that a lot of the specialists are now dying around Avdiivka. And, well, the age kind of already tells the story. Like, all of this system is now collapsing under its own weight. And there is very little people left that can fix it. And it's glorious.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that we forgot to mention about this video is it was 100% made for the internal audience, because the main message of this video is, look at Ukrainians in 2023, they suffer because we bombed all of their civilian infrastructure. The main message they're sending to like the US and Europe and everybody else is that we never strike civilian objects, Ukrainians do it themselves. They shoot themselves, they rape their own women, and you know, because this happens every single time Russia invades other country preemptively before this country invades Russia. But the message they're sending here is like, you see those Ukrainians, we made them suffer, we did it. That's why they are so depressed and yada yada. So that's the message that they were sending clearly to the internal audience that would watch that television. Let's say not every Russian watches Russia Today, but again, they already managed to pump up some of the supporters on the West that would see that and go, yeah. But it's so funny, you know. On our previous stream with Roman, we laughed so much because this video is like it's a fantasy. Christmas 2022, well, like more or less something. Yeah, we had some severe blackouts. It was kind of cold. But everybody survived. There were no Ukrainians who died because of freezing or hunger or whatever. 2023, guys, are you kidding me? I'm sitting here like wearing a t-shirt. So it's kind of cringy, and then we started like watching all those videos made in Rostov, blackout in Rostov, the flooding in Khimki, those heaters destroyed in Podmoskovye, in Moskva, and all that shit. That is reality. That is how reality looks like, and you cannot change it, no matter what kind of production you have, no matter how many like actors you have. No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and this is kind of like the whole narrative. Like this is the whole Ruski Mir that Russia is bringing, like the whole Russian world and the whole narrative. Like the Russians and what they're trying to do and what Putin is selling is that we're gonna make them have it as shitty as we do, right? You can be from the shittiest place in your town. Like you might not have a single fully connected to like a water system, a toilet in your village at all. But мы задали цим хохлам. But we got the Ukrainians. We put them down. Like, we made sure that what did they wanted to live better than us. This is the specific Russian narrative, not the Russian. I know a lot of people are simplifying it as saying is like, this is just an imperial ambition. Russians want to, conquer and build the Russian Imperial Europe. Maybe Putin wants that. Like maybe his goals are like that. He wants to go into the history books, yada yada. There are plenty of takes on Putin. That's been. But for a common Russian that is not within these 15% that are like hardcore Nazis, because the statistics have been very consistent throughout this. There's about 15% that are like hardcore, we need to do war, we need to genocide and everything. And then the rest is just like this swamp of whiteniks that will believe anything that they hear, that they will listen to any kind of conspiracy theory, whatnot. If Putin started the war, that this is correct, then we're going the right way. For them, the explanation is like, you're having it rough, we're going to make sure that you are not the worst, we're going to make it worse for them. For them, that explanation on their deep level, maybe they will not say it out loud, right? But they completely understand that. They feel that. And this is what they want. It's like, how dare these Ukrainians that supposedly, like, we were the number one in the Soviets, everyone else were bowing to us. Like, not the fact that they want to recreate it, but the fact that this build-up narrative that they are lesser than the Russians. We are having it rough. We are strong. We are surviving over here. How dare they try even be better than us? We must put them in their place. And that's the narrative of the regular Russian Ivan. Does he want to build empire? Does he want to genocide Ukrainians? No. But he's absolutely supporting that because that is how he feels. Like you ask him logical questions, at some point he's going to come out and say, oh, I don't like Putin, or I think we should pull out. But then you say, it's like, yes, but should Ukrainians join the EU, or should they have a good life? And he's like, fuck no.
Yeah, absolutely. Georgie is absolutely correct. And it already happened many years ago. For example, when Russians took control over Krulevets, in Russia, also known as Kaliningrad. It was a German town, very nice town. 2 weeks after they captured this town, the sewers stopped working. And 90% of those sewers don't work until today. So that's the thing. They, like common Russian vatnik, sitting there in Russia in some freaking Omsk, Khabarovsk, you name it. They don't dream of going to a different country and conquering it and expanding to or contributing to expanding their empire and shit. No, he lives in shit. His life is torture. And he wants to see other people tortured as well. Not only Ukrainians, Russians despise everybody. They don't like other people. They're not like us, They don't like other people because even though they live in shit, but they are taught that this is the way. Dugin, Prilepin, They all say that Russians are not supposed to have prosperous life. They must suffer, but in suffering, they can find their freedom. And of course, because Russians are not that stupid, they go like, but what the hell? I want to live prosperously. I want to have car. I want to have good food and shit. That's why they hate the world, basically. And this is what you want to know about the Russian mentality. They despise everybody. They have plenty of derogative names for all kinds of nations that are used very, very often. You cannot even imagine, guys. But we do, because we monitor Russian channels all the time.
I've sent you the picture, if you can show. This is one of my favorite things, like about Russian kind of perspective on the world and how they see things and how they, like they're twisting every narrative. So this is a photo of a 10 ruble coin of Russian.
Just a second, I'm trying to download it, but
it's failing to download.
Yeah, my messenger is so bad today. Just a second, let me see.
It's kind of crazy. Like if you can show it, that would be nice, because I
think I did it again. I think I did it again, guys. I destroyed the stream without even noticing it. Okay, let's wait until Georgie reconnects. Georgie, reconnect. But in the meantime, I will show you that that photo that he sent. All right, here it is. Yeah. Древние города. So the coin says, Georgie is. I forgot to connect Georgie. Georgie, are you here, my brother?
Yes, I am.
All right. Yeah, I destroyed stream once again. Happens once in a while.
Sorry, it's the Russian coin. Russian hackers.
Yeah. Okay, so we have to do like 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, what a nice transition.
Yeah, it says ancient towns of Russia.
Yes. Yeah, so this coin, this 10 ruble coin, says the ancient towns of Russia. Ancient means like really, really ancient. Like usually it's referred to like at least Middle Ages. At least Middle Ages. And it says Kaliningrad, which is the Kralovets, which is absolutely hilarious.
Well, how much time did Russians spend in Crimea, like generally? Like 200 years?
I'm not sure, but it wasn't like super long. It wasn't like the I mean, like that's the Russian modus operandi, right? They twist narratives and so on. The only way that Russia is right now benefiting a lot of these simps that are like simping for Russia, that this was like some kind of eternal superpower that always existed, that it never lost any war, that like someone like dumbasses like Merzheimer or something that says like, oh, we need to be real, that like superpowers all will exist in the world. It's like, that's not what Russia was. It wasn't like that for a longer time. Like people look at the map and says like, oh, Russia big, therefore Russia strong. Oh, fuck no. No, it wasn't. It was almost never like that. The only way that Russia kind of more or less became strong, and whenever it started like, getting some influence from the West, and even then, it was very much overtaken. Like when you kind of look into the history of the Russians and how they were trying to perform, how they were trying to westernize, it was still a complete dog shit. It was still mostly a country that was built on slave labor. Like all of their fancy like schmancy, like we're gonna give an army and everything, it was not that great. It was not that great. So Russians, the only thing that they've benefited is that they were the colonizers of a larger area, and as a colonial empire they had the absolute ability to rewrite all of the history books. Like it's only took like for Latvia to take back a little bit, maybe 10, 15 years. Thankfully I was already studying in free Latvia, and I was seeing both the Soviet how do we say history books, and I was also seeing the Latvian history books. And I'm like, oh my God, why are all of these things excluded from the Soviet history books that we had before? And it was kind of crazy. And this is what Russia does. They just rewriting the history. As a colonial empire, they're able to influence it on the territory of the colonial, and then says like, well, Ukraine never existed. Yes, because like no one is able to read Ukrainian authors. No one is able to read Ukrainian history books and Ukrainian history. Everyone is reading only the Soviet and Russian driven narratives about the world. And that's why when you're a simp and saying, oh, Russia was always this dominant empire, no, they just subjugated all of the people on their territory. And that's it. That's the only way. Because that no one was pushing around. No one pushing against them. But now that time is gone. Like now, actual countries finally understood what they are, where they're coming from, who are the people on them, and they're finally understanding is like, yeah, like it's like it's still a colonial empire. Russia still is, and the only thing that they want to do is put more shackles on the countries around, destroy their culture, destroy their identity, completely wipe out any kind of resemblance of culture. Look at Belarus. In Belarus, just recently, I saw a map of the predominance of the Belarusian language in daily communications and schools. It's non-existent. In the less than 20 years, sorry, like 30 years with Lukashenko, Belarusian that was spoken about half of the country at the start of the 90s now is pretty much non-existent. There's like, I believe, 2 counties that were still having the majority of people speaking Belarusian. That is what Russians are doing, like the cultural genocide, absolutely destroying and wiping out cultures of the countries, shackling the people, making sure that like you're actually wrong, like you're actually Russian, you're actually the same as people from Bashkiria. It's like you're asked like, what Ukrainians have in common with Bashkirians? Why do you want to have this? And the answer is only one thing. The only thing you have in common is that both Bashkirians and Ukrainians want to be and need to be slaves in the Russian perspectives. You need to be the shackled, lesser people in their dominant empire, so they can live their shitty lives, but know that someone else is going to live it shittier.
Yeah, absolutely. How many Bashkirian schools are there? Like schools in Bashkirian language? You can Google it, and basically every single time Russians say that they protected Russian-speaking Ukrainians who wanted to study Russian language in Ukraine, but they were completely oppressed every single time. Guys, 2022, there were 600 Russian schools in Ukraine. There were 0 Ukrainian schools in Russia, always. And that's the thing. Russians eliminate the national identity. This is what they do. There's a lot of Russian, not Russian ethnic, but other ethnic minorities that still have their language, but they use the Cyrillic letters because Russians were too stupid to understand what they were writing. That's why they made them learn the Cyrillic language, the Cyrillic letters, and basically it's like not Latinization but Cyrillicization. Anyways, guys.
People having an argument. I need to jump in on the argument. So Lukashenko is a Russified last name. Lukashenko is a last name in Belarusian. So the ending of A is in Belarusian. The O is when his last name is Russified.
Yeah, it's true. Okay. And Rick says Russia is dangerous AF because of this, and I completely agree with my brother. Guys, I think we will wrap up. Thank you so much for this stream, bro. It was absolutely amazing. We discussed a lot of things, and it was a pleasure to see you because we weren't streaming for quite a while.
I don't know, with you it's always like one moment, like I was fired up and like let's go.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I appreciate it, bro. Do you have anything to say to our viewers?
Yes, fuck Russia.
Yeah, fucking did. Guys, thank you so much for being with us tonight. It's me, operator Rogansky, and I really look like Joe Rogan. I cannot do anything. Like I'm.
You need to get fatter.
Oh shit! Yeah, definitely. And unlike Joe Rogan, I have more interesting guests all the time. So guys, thank you so much for staying with us. As always, be safe. Much love to you and your families from Ukraine and Denmark. Guys, you are amazing. See you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Nice.